Om Arunachala Shiva.
Namaste everyone. Welcome to the third day of Tadvanam online colloquium that is happening in relation with the Shivaratri Mahotsava of the Ashrama. Just to begin with a self-introduction of myself, I am Satyanand, currently pursuing as a research scholar at Delhi University, and I am also serving as the General Secretary of Vivekananda Darshanika Samajam. Today we are going to discuss on the topic Life of a Jivanmukta in World, study of Sri Ramakrishna's life. In this third day of online colloquium, we are going to discuss this topic for the second consecutive day. Yesterday, most respected Professor S. Radhakrishnan sir had given an overview on the topic by giving in-depth insights on Bhagavan Ramakrishna's life and teachings. Hence, I don't think that it is more necessary to give more biographical knowledge on the life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. Rather, I would like to give an perspective towards the life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna in the topic Life of a Jivanmukta in World, study of Sri Ramakrishna's life. So, to begin with, what is meant by Jivanmukta? If we are coming to the philosophy of Adi Shankara, he is saying that Brahma Satyam Jaganmitya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. Look at the second part. Jivo Brahmaiva Na Aparaha. It means that the Jiva, which is we call as life, itself is the Brahma, and that is not different from Brahma. So the pristine Advaitic philosophy states that Jiva and Brahma are not different. Both are same only. Hinduism or Advaitic philosophy doesn't believe that there is something different called soul and it is taking a body and the soul and body are different in an ultimate truth. It simply says that both soul itself is the Brahma and that Brahma is regarded as the Jiva by the world. So, what is meant by world? The world is regarded as an illusion that is happening from the Jiva, which itself is the soul, which itself is the Brahman, the ultimate reality. And once you are getting rid of this illusion, and the word Mukta means that being rid of or getting the freedom. So you are becoming a Jivan Mukta when you are getting rid of this illusion of world that has somehow arose from the Jivan, which was the pristine soul or the Brahman. So, as understanding the meaning of the word Jivan Mukta, the Jivan Mukta means that a person who is a Jivan Mukta is free of that illusion of the worldly affairs. So he is called as the realized soul. And in the words of Bhagavan Ramakrishna, and such a Jnani, he is the only person who can be regarded as a person who is deserved to be a guru, teacher, or acharya. Just to summarize, the word Jivan Mukta indicates a Jnani who is a realized soul and in whom there is no more, there is a differentiation between the world and the soul. Such was the life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna, and study of his life is giving us also that light to enter such a path of utmost spiritual truth. We can take the evidences of this same truth from the lives of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva and the words conveyed by him at different instances to us. For example, Bhagavan is saying at one point that what you call as Brahman is called by me as mother. So even though Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva is highly regarded as a biggest devotee of Ma Kali, he never found his own Devi or Ma Kali different from himself. That is evident from throughout his life and his instances and teachings. And Bhagavan himself is saying that Bhagavan, Bhagavata, and Bhakta are same through his life teachings. Because once you are immersing in your own deity as the ultimate bhakta or devotee, you yourself will realize that the Bhagavan or Bhagavata or Bhakta all are same. If you are getting a gospel that is from your Guru, ultimately you will realize that the gospel you learned to reach the ultimate truth, and the Guru who gave you that teaching or learning, he or the gospel both were not different from you, which is called as, or which is previously thought as, an imperfect soul. So, the ultimate state of bhakti is reaching only when you are finding yourself not different from the ultimate truth, which can be regarded as Atman, Brahman, or soul. In this state only, your bhakti is fulfilling its ultimate reality, and that itself is the message of life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. Bhagavan is saying that a child has no attachment. He makes a playhouse, and if anyone touches it, he will jump about and cry. The next moment, he himself will break it. This moment, he may be very attached to his cloth. He says, my daddy has given to me, I won't part with it. But the next moment, you can cajole him away from it with a toy. He will go away with you, leaving the cloth behind. Here, Bhagavan is exemplifying how a Jivanmukta lives his life. You may feel like the Jivanmukta or a Jnani is a person who is ultimately immersed immensely in the worldly affairs when whatever they are doing. But you can see that the next moment they will be leaving the worldly affairs without showing a pinch of attachment to whatever he or she was involving till then, and that is the sign of a jnani. Bhagavan's life itself was full of instances showcasing this reality. Just to give an example with a small story that had happened between Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva and Narendra, who was later regarded as Swami Vivekananda. Once Bhagavan and Narendra had a lot of debates on the theism and atheism. As we all know that Narendra was initially not believing in on all the godly ideals or divine ideals. He was acting like a rationalist who wanted rationale for everything. And we know that Narendra was a person who had very keenness and sharpness in his intellect. So it was very difficult for any person to defeat Narendra on the basis of rationality. So once Narendra and Bhagavan were debating over whether there is a God or not, and Narendra himself is saying that Swami Vivekananda Swamiji himself is recalling that I in the end made myself clear that there cannot be any God and only rationality can work in this world. So Narendra was saying, Swamiji is saying that little Narendra was very much happy that he could find a rational victory in front of the ultimate Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. And Swamiji recalls that once Narendra established his conviction in front of Bhagavan, Bhagavan felt like Bhagavan, it was seeming like Bhagavan got into a weariness, and because of the seeing the very mindness of Bhagavan, Narendra became a bit happier inside, praising his own inner intellect to a little bit. But being anxious, Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva didn't just sit idle. You know what he did? Swamiji is recalling that Bhagavan just went to the temple of Dakshineshwar And after 5 minutes, he came back to Narendra with absolutely a novel zeal. Swamiji is recalling that it was very evident from his face only after coming from Dakshineshwar temple. He had got a new conviction and determination. So, after meeting his own mother goddess inside the temple, Bhagavan returned to Narendra and Bhagavan said that, Hey Naren, whatever you said is utter foolishness that is told by mother to me. So I don't have to worry about you. And he laughed and he went again back to the temple. Swamiji recalls this instance from his life and interaction with Bhagavan and saying that such a meeting with his own mother goddess or his own Bhagavati or Devi gave he such a tremendous determination that Naren's own conviction got shattered into pieces by mere the looks and words of Bhagavan. So Naren was wondering how a man who was a bit anxious 5 minutes ago after hearing the rational thoughts of a young man got such a conviction and determination just after praying to God or goddess for just 2 minutes. This was what wanted Naren at that point of time. But it is very evident for any of us who knows the life of Bhagavan that he knew in the end that the rationality and the mere intellectual play is not going us to lead anywhere near the ultimate divine reality. But Bhagavan could realize such a truth only through devotion and sacrifice. He had that truth illumined or ignited within him for years because he had went through such austerities throughout his life that was unable to be shattered by mere the rational words of Narayan or anyone to say. The truth is always within him. Devotion or bhakti was just found as a path or utilized as a way to goddess by Bhagavan to showcase the world that there is no differentiation between jnana, karma, or bhakti. That message is the ultimate truth conveyed by Bhagavan Ramakrishna by showcasing us a life of a Jivanmukta. Bhagavan's life also exemplifies that one's jnana or realization is not obscured just by involving in worldly affairs that is called as karma. We know that the Maharatrigam that is sung by lakhs of millions of Ramakrishna devotees all over the world, written by Swami Vivekananda. In that Aratragam, there is a word written by Swamiji on Bhagavan. That word is karma kathor. What does that word means? That word's translation is tremendous performer of deeds. So the revered Swami Vivekananda, who won the whole world through his exploration and lectures all over the world. In the end, he himself is calling his own guru, who merely had around 16 to 20 disciples and a small group of surroundings within a small village of Bengal, as Karma Kador. So, Swamiji, who is known as the ultimate worker ever born in the modern generation, may not be just in India, maybe all over the world. He himself regards Bhagavan, who had a very small circle compared to Swamiji, as Karma Kador or the tremendous performer of deeds. Why? Because the Swamiji knew that his guru, his master, had done an ultimate work by producing 16 disciples 16 monastic disciples who can transform the world through propagating the truth that their master has taught them. That itself is the greatest work. If you think that whatever the work that is done by the monastic disciples of Ramakrishna Deva or his own ashrama, mutt, or his own many devotees all over the world. That itself is inspired by the life and teachings of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva, and giving such a life and teaching itself is a great work. But that does not diminish the knowledge or the ultimate jnana they have realized in their life. Coming to the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi, once he is saying that you cannot say that a jnani is not working, because if jnani is not working, how the world will work? And Bhagavan himself is asking that, isn't it jnanis who inspire millions of karma yogis all over the world? That is the ultimate reality. You cannot really separate a jnani from a karma yogi, or you can say that karma is lesser or greater, because the purest form of karma itself is the jnana, and the jnana itself is the bhakti. Again, that is the message conveyed by Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva through showcasing us the life of a Jivanmukta. Another important aspect of Bhagavan Ramakrishna's life was he didn't deny any single path that was leading us to the ultimate truth. We can see that over the centuries, so all over in the history, we can see many great saints are coming. But often, what happens is after their life period, maybe even through their teachings only, whoever is following them is turning out to be another sect or cult, and who proclaims themselves as the better one compared to the others. But Bhagavan Ramakrishna's life completely denied such an existence of a sect or cult, that was again showcasing the greatness of teachings conveyed by Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. He said that no matter whatever the paths you are going, you are anyways leading to the same Brahman or the subtle truth. So why should you quarrel between each other? You can see that Swami Vivekananda himself didn't form any other religion or cult that had happened with previous, like that had happened with many of the previous saints, happened in maybe the previous centuries. Bhagavan Ramakrishna's teaching, this was also showing that there should not be requiring any quarrels or competition between different religions. He said that all religions are leading to the same God, so that you should stop quarreling, rather, you should strive to attain that truth through any of the paths that suits you. His birth was happening at a period where different Western philosophies were trying to conquer Indian minds by saying idol worship is not going to give you salvation. But Bhagavan's life itself was showcasing, once you are choosing your own path, whether it is through idol worship or not, that does not change the ultimate state you are in. As Swamiji says that there was a time where I thought idols are mere stones and that cannot give you even glimpses of supreme reality. But Bhagavan's teaching really changed Swamiji's perspective. Swamiji was saying that the same person who believed there is no way to truth through idol worship, the same person, the same Naren had to learn from the feet of a person who achieved everything through idol worship. Bhagavan himself is saying that an idol is not just clay, God's consciousness manifests in it. Doesn't God know that when you worship an idol, you are only worshipping Him? Such a new rationale was coming as a revelation to the society of 19th century, and such a reality had transformed India's history, as we can see how Swamiji's work and his teaching, and later the legends, legends inspired by the teachings of Swami Vivekananda, how they participated in Indian freedom movement, which ultimately culminated in the freedom of India. It is why one scholar has said that the actual freedom movement of Indian independence has started on the day when Bhagavan Ramakrishna took his birth. because what India needed was not just mere materialistic movement that was craving for freedom. What India wanted at that time was a paradigm shift to the treasures of truth this nation had always held in its core. Bhagavan Ramakrishna's life and teachings were leading this nation and society back to that reality through the work and karma yoga which he transpired through generations. Another teaching Bhagavan assimilates through his life is the importance of avatara purushas in one's life. We can see many philosophies are saying that you are different from God and you can only show your devotion to God through different means, but you can never be able to identify yourself with the ultimate Atman or God. But Bhagavan says that it is possible to achieve the ultimate purest state through your own devotions and life so that you will be able to identify yourself with the same Bhagavan you are praying daily to. We can see in the life of Swamiji, when Swamiji was wandering through one village of Maharashtra, one person was asking Swamiji, one sage was asking Swamiji that whatever we learn through Vedantic philosophy, we cannot really curtail all sensual pleasures or human bodily weaknesses in life. Swamiji's answer was crystal clear. Swamiji said that a total conquest of sensual desires is possible by human beings. I have seen at least one such man who has achieved that. It means that Bhagavan was inspiring the rational Naren who later became the great Swami Vivekananda, not through mere words, through mere philosophy. He was inspiring all his monastic disciples and his devotees through his own life. He exemplified, he embodied the ultimate reality that we all are trying to achieve through different spiritual paths. Bhagavan didn't deny any of those spiritual paths, but Bhagavan said that be clear that what is the truth you want to achieve. He says that who are we to help others? Is the world too small for us to help and uplift it? It is the work of God. By trying to help the world, you are indeed helping yourself. See every being as a form of God and do service to them humbly as if a worship. This itself is later propagated by the words of Swami Vivekananda to the world. Hence, Bhagavan, by embodying the life of a Jivanmukta, made us realize the importance of avatars and the possibility of achieving and realizing the truth in this life only through different paths which is considered as equal without any disputes between or amongst them. As one of the monastic disciples of Bhagavan Ramakrishna says, Bhagavan wanted to show the world that not the outer world or the materialistic world you are involving or the environmental factors are going to decide your future in spiritual life. He was saying that these monastic disciples were saying that there were many sages in history who were always pursuing the life of an ascetic, but Bhagavan had Ma Sharada Devi in his life, and Bhagavan said us through that even if you are not a wanderer or an ascetic to the outer world, that does not mean you cannot realize the supreme reality. Bhagavan's life was a sublime manifestation of saying pure mind, pure intellect, and pure Atman are one and the same. Bhagavan never identified himself as the body. He believed that bhakti was the way that is leading you to the God, and once you are identifying yourself with that truth, you don't have to think or worry about the mere transient nature of this materialistic world. During the last days of his worldly life, once he was getting a lot of pain through the disease that had affected his throat, we can recall that one of his disciples told him that, Bhagavan, why can't you simply ask your mother that please cure own disease? But Bhagavan was asking, what are you saying? Isn't it me only who are having food through different throats all around the planet? It means that Bhagavan never felt like he was a person different from his surroundings. That means his own karma was his bhakti, that itself was flourishing as the jnana through his life and teachings. I would like to conclude this lecture by connecting with the summary of the last two lectures we had witnessed in this colloquium. The life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva, the life of a Jivanmukta, which who lived in India in modern history, his life embodied that Brahman or God and its Shakti are not two different entities. Bhagavan signified that you are not different from the ultimate reality and you can lead to that supreme reality through different paths of devotion. Hence, Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva, though he proclaimed bhakti as the easiest way in this Kali Yuga, he was also signifying the path of bhakti is not different from path of karma or jnana. The similar way, Bhagavan didn't deny any paths that is leading all of us to the supreme reality. Hence, we cannot really say that this religion or that religion, this sect or that sect, this cult or that cult is either right or wrong. We are mere instruments in the hand of God whose only freedom is to get rid of all of our illusions and imaginaries and realizing the ultimate Brahman. You became mukta of or getting rid of that illusion, then you becomes a Jivan Mukta or Jnani as Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva exemplifies. This is the ultimate summary of the lectures of today and yesterday that was on the life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. I would like to also link it with the inaugural lecture happened in this colloquium that was related to Tadvanam by Sri Dilip Naitil. Tadvanam is a form of worship that is rendered in Kenopanishad, and Tadvanopasana signifies a pristine path to realize this ultimate spiritual truth. As Bhagavan Ramakrishna says, there could be millions of paths that is leading to the truth, but still all paths should be having equal weightage. You cannot say that either of these paths are superior or inferior to other. So the message of Tadvanopasana is also the same. You rather trying or wandering through different disputes and quarrels between which is the way to truth or which is not the way to truth, rather you just check who is the seeker and then you are going to find the truth. So you try to find the seeker rather than seeking something that is outside of your nature. Your own nature is the truth, your own nature is the divinity, and realizing that potential divinity within you is the aim of every life, as said by Swami Vivekananda. By this, let us stop all the disputes or the doubts that may arise in our mind once we are going through different philosophy and spiritual practices. Let us find a universal religion through completely understanding the insights given by the great life of Bhagavan Ramakrishna Deva. Let us not disregard each other. Let us respect each other. As the famous shloka says, Tejasvina Vadidamastu Ma Vidishwavahai. We all are going to the same reality, same truth, same destination. What is the need of any disputes between or among us? With this, let us conclude the lecture of today's colloquium that is on that was on life of a Jivanmukta in world study of Sri Ramakrishna life. So I hope we all can dwell more into the life of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. That will be definitely unlocking the trajectories to the supreme reality of Brahmajnana. I hope this lecture could give at least some insights to all of the respected listeners of this colloquium. I really hope that this Shivaratri is going to be an auspicious occasion that will be leading all of us to that ultimate reality. With this, thanking you all who listened to this lecture till now. Thank you. Namaste. Om Shanti.